In 2014, in a small town in Vermont, an old man died at 92. His name was Ronald Read. If you had passed him on the street, you wouldn't have looked twice. A worn coat held together with safety pins, actual safety pins, because he didn't want to pay for a new one. An old used Toyota. His whole life he pumped gas at a station and mopped floors as a janitor at JCPenney. His neighbors knew him as the quiet, frugal old man who cut his own firewood past his 90th birthday. And then he died. And the lawyers opened his estate, and the entire town went silent. Ronald Read, the gas station attendant, the janitor, was worth almost $8 million. His own family was, in their words, tremendously surprised. Nobody knew. Not his friends, not his neighbors. For decades, one of the richest men in town had been handing them their change and sweeping their floors. My name is Sem, and today, no invented characters. Everything you're about to hear is real, documented, and it quietly destroys almost everything you believe about money. Let's start with what Ronald was not. He was not a genius. No fancy education. He was the first person in his family to even finish high school, walking and hitchhiking 4 miles there every day. He did not start a company. He did not invent anything. He did not win a lottery, and nobody left him an inheritance. He was born on a poor farm in 1921 into a family that had almost nothing. He fought in World War II, came home, and took the most ordinary jobs America had to offer. 25 years at a gas station, then 17 years as a part-time janitor. Stop on that for a second. Part-time. Janitor. If Ronald Read stood in line at a bank next to you, you'd assume you were doing better than him. Everyone did. That was the whole trick. So where did $8 million come from? When they opened his safe deposit box, they found the answer: a 5-inch thick stack of stock certificates. At least 95 companies. Some held for decades. And when you look at what he owned, there's a beautiful, almost boring pattern. No hype, no hot tips. Railroads, banks, utilities, consumer companies, Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, J.P. Morgan, companies he could understand by looking out his window, companies that paid dividends. And here's the move that built the empire. Every dividend check that arrived, he didn't spend it. He used it to buy more shares, which produced more dividends, which bought more shares. A snowball rolling silently for 65 years in a small Vermont town, while its owner ate his breakfast, 1 coffee, 1 English muffin with peanut butter, on the same stool, at the same counter, every single morning. Now let's do the math that makes this story terrifying and beautiful at the same time. Analysts later estimated his approach was equivalent to investing roughly $300 a month at around 8% return. For 65 years, $300 a month. That's it. That's a janitor's savings. Run those numbers and you get millions. Not because of any single brilliant decision, but because of an absurd, almost superhuman amount of ordinary decisions repeated. Warren Buffett, the most famous investor alive, made 90% of his fortune after his 60th birthday. Same reason. Not genius. Time. Compounding is the only force in finance that turns boring into unbelievable. But it charges an entry fee almost nobody wants to pay: decades of patience. And here's where I need to be honest with you, because this story has a trap. The trap is thinking the lesson is, be extremely cheap. Safety pins on your coat. Never spend anything. No. Ronald's frugality was extreme. Friends estimated if he earned $50 in a week, he invested 40 of it. You don't need that, and honestly, I wouldn't want that for you. The real lesson is hiding one level deeper. Ronald Read won because he made wealth a silent, automatic byproduct of simply being alive. He didn't decide to invest every month. It's just what happened to money that reached him. No drama, no motivation videos, no getting serious about finances every January. The machine ran. Earn, keep most of it. Buy pieces of real companies. Reinvest what they pay you. Don't touch it. Repeat. For 65 years, his biggest financial skill was leaving things alone. Compare that to what everyone around him was doing. What everyone around you is doing. Chasing the market. Buying high on excitement. Selling low on panic. waiting for the perfect moment, starting over every 2 years. Ronald bought pieces of companies the way other people pay rent. On schedule, without emotion, forever. He never sold in a crash. Through wars, recessions, oil crises, the dot-com bubble, 2008, the man just held. His portfolio survived every disaster of the 20th century because he never once asked it to do anything quickly. And now the part of the story that gets me every time. What did he do with it? Ronald Read left $2 million to his family and caregivers, and then $5 million to his town, $1.2 million to the local library, the same library where he used to sit and read about investing because books were free. $4.8 million to Brattleboro Memorial Hospital, where for years he'd shown up not as a patient, but as the old man having coffee and an English muffin at the cafe counter. The library extended its hours. The hospital modernized. The man who wouldn't buy himself a coat renovated his town. And I think that's the answer to the question everyone asks about this story. What's the point of dying rich? He never enjoyed it. Look closer. He enjoyed exactly the life he wanted. His stool, his coffee, his firewood, his library. The money was never for consumption. It was his life's work. A janitor's masterpiece, signed and donated on the way out. So what do you take from Ronald Read? You with your normal salary and your noisy century. 3 things, and none of them require safety pins. 1, your income is not your ceiling. A part-time janitor out-earned doctors, lawyers, and everyone driving past his gas station, not through salary, through ownership. Every paycheck, buy a piece of something that pays you back. 2, boring wins. The most powerful sentence in his whole story is that nothing happened. No drama for 65 years. If your investing feels exciting, you're probably doing it wrong. And 3, the one that connects to everything we've talked about on this channel. Nobody could see his wealth, and that's exactly why it survived. No image to maintain, no lifestyle to feed, no audience taking a cut. Remember the man with the $90,000 car who couldn't afford lunch? Ronald Read is his exact mirror image. One performed wealth and had none. One had wealth and performed nothing. So here's my question for you today. Ronald invested the equivalent of about $300 a month. What's your number? The amount you could quietly, automatically set aside every month starting now without your life even noticing. Don't impress me. Give me the real number, even if it's 20 bucks. Write it in the comments. And come back to that comment in 5 years. Some of you will thank a janitor from Vermont. If you want more true stories and invisible money forces, subscribe. This channel is basically Ronald's library, but with animation. Remember, you don't need a better salary to start. You need a longer game. See you in the next video.